We're going to be looking today at our warm-up for class. So there's a few things we're looking to accomplish with this warm-up. First one being to actually warm up, get blood flow to the correct areas, get your muscles working. If you get a new piece of gum, it's usually pretty brittle. As you chew on it, it becomes more elastic. That's similar to how your muscles work. And the older you get, the more you need to warm up, make sure that you're ready to train before you start. Number two, we're looking for injury prevention, and I'll show you some examples of the exercises we do for that. And number three, something that I've been adding on recently is posture correcting exercises. I notice a lot of people have rounded shoulders, head forward, and lower back issues, whether it's being with the hips too far forward or hips too far back. So I've been looking to try to help students with that, along with, of course, that helps with jiu-jitsu, because if you have these issues that you're going to work every day and you have bad posture, you come to train, it's probably going to re-aggravate it. The main reason for us warming up is to prevent injury. If you already have an injury, you have a hurt wrist, you have a hurt ankle, please let me know, let your instructor know, so that we can give you an option to adapt to it. Don't force yourself to do something if you're injured. If you have something a little routine that you like to do, you have some lower back issues you've had a while, you like to do stretching, I highly recommend coming in early before class. We usually have the mat open for about 20 minutes before each class at least. Come in, do your routine, then get into the class. But if your wrists are hurt, don't do push-ups. If your ankles are hurt, you don't have to do the lunges. We'll figure something out for you to do, okay, that can still warm up and you can still get into the class and still prevent further injury. So let's get started here. Our first movement is going to be hand on the wall. The inside leg, the one that's closest to the wall, is going to move forward and back. My arm is going to help go here for balance, and I'm looking for a little bit of a stretch on the hip flexor when I go back, and a little bit of a stretch on the hamstring when I go forward. Arm out. And we're going to do this 10 times on each side. Once you accomplish here, you're going to turn, switch sides. Making sure that the leg is straight. I don't want to have an angle here. I want to go straight forward, straight back here, keeping a good posture and going through. Once I've done 10 times on each side, then I'm going to face the wall, both hands on the wall, and we're going to work the leg sideways, getting the hip mobility and the hip muscles to get some blood flow in there, getting them warm. Other leg up. We're gonna go as far as I can go this way, as far up. Don't have to push yourself too much, but should be feeling a little bit of a stretch again on the inside of your thigh, a little bit on the IT band on the outside here. Once you finish those, next step, we're gonna do lunges 3 different ways. With the lunges, we're looking to warm up our legs and hips. Okay, that's something we're going to be using a lot in jiu-jitsu. So before we get to the ground, we're going to do some lunges all the different ways to get the legs and hips and glutes nice and warmed up. Okay, pay very close attention to your posture to not bend here. Okay, especially if you're taller, you want to start hinging. Okay, here at the hip. When I come down, I'm in a good position the whole time. First one is sideways. I want to step to the side, small step, foot pointing forward, hips back, and knee does not go over my toes. Bend the hip back. It's almost a single-legged squat here. I step to the side, toes forward, hips back, push back. I want to keep my weight on my heel and my hips back. I don't want to go here and bend on my lower back. Okay, this can be a problem later on. So I'm trying to bend my knee, good posture, come down, and I'm gonna go to the other side. One more time from the front, step to the side, toes forward, hips, come back, step, and come back. Now next one we're gonna do is stepping backwards. So I'm gonna step back, good posture, and come up. From the side here, I don't want to lean forward. I want to keep a good posture. Knee comes down close to the ground but doesn't touch. And then I come up. Other side. close, come up. Hands on the hips can help with your balance. Back and up, back and up. Next one, we're gonna do same thing but opposite. Stepping forward and back. Forward, keeping the weight on your heel, not letting your knee go forward, keeping a good posture, pushing back right to the beginning. Once we've done the lunges on all sides, now we're gonna balance on one foot, and we're gonna take about 5 seconds to get to the ground and about 5 seconds to come up. So one foot's down, I work all the way down. When I get to the floor, great, come up, and then switch. Again, taking your time, slowly, all the way down. Don't come up here quick, okay? That's just as important as the part coming down. If you need help, of course, safety. Your second leg is there to help if you get off balance, okay? On the mat, it's much harder to do this, which is good, okay? So this is a difficult exercise. Take your time. You want to keep your balance here right in the middle, okay? As you come down, this movement is to strengthen our stabilizing muscles around our knees and ankles to prevent injuries from those areas. And if you've had injuries before, also to help you recover from those. Now we get to the ground here. The first movement we're gonna do is we're gonna raise our opposite arm and leg up. I start hands and knees, and I'm gonna raise my opposite arm and leg straight. Go from a sideways view here, straight up. We're looking to warm up the core, warm up the lower back, and strengthen both of those areas. If this becomes very easy for you, and what I mean by that is you're not having trouble kind of coming up, you can come up and you can go straight and it's not a problem at all. You can increase the difficulty of the movement by bringing just your limbs, just your arms and legs, toes to the side, back, and down, very controlled, up, out, back, and back. That's a very difficult move, but if the first exercise became easy for you, you've been training for a long time, you've been doing this with us for a while, that's something that you can look for to challenge yourself a little bit. After that, we're gonna actually be looking at lower back mobility by putting ourselves in this position here. Again, same position. Hip right over the knee. And we're gonna be looking not to move the back here, trying to keep the middle of the back as still as possible while moving just the hips and the lower back. In and out here. Taking about 5 seconds to go from one end to the other. All the way in, all the way out. That's a great exercise for your lower back to get some mobility in there, especially if you have a little bit of tightness from sitting at work or sitting in a car for a long time. Next, we're gonna do push-ups. Hands underneath the shoulders. Avoid outside here or forward. Okay, I want to keep my hands underneath me. I want to keep my body in a good position. Go straight down, keeping my elbows close to me. And up. And up. I don't want my body to come up in sections here. Okay, I want to push myself away from the ground. And I want to use my chest to do the exercise while my core keeps my body from moving around. If you have trouble with keeping good position there, I would highly recommend switching to the knees, putting the knees down here and having perfect technique here. Making sure you're breathing as you move. If you have any Any issues on your wrist, you can try to do the fist on the ground. If it still bugs you, that's okay. You're gonna do something else. You can do some extra lunges, some extra arm and leg raises. You choose it. Following the push-ups, we're gonna lay down on the ground, arms out, legs across. Gonna open up the hips here, open up the lower back, and I wanna keep my shoulders on the ground as much as possible while doing this. And just slowly bringing the legs over. From there, we're gonna be working to fix rounded shoulders by tucking our chin in, pulling our belly button off the ground. My arms come up here. I rotate my shoulders like I'm getting a key lock. Here, my arms are gonna go forward and back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Forward and back, forward and back, making sure that the hands don't drop, the wrists don't drop, everything stays up. Your head should be level, your chin should be in. Let me show you from the side here. Relax your legs, chin in, arms come up, belly button off the ground, arms forward and back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Moving on, we're gonna be laying down on the ground, arms out, and just bringing the legs over. Should feel some stretch on the hamstring, on the glutes, and the lower back here, along with getting some blood flow to those areas. Bringing the arms across, and that's it. Once we finish there, feet on the ground. Couple things that I notice here. Don't bring your foot very close to you. You're putting your ligaments and your tendons in your knee in a compromising position before putting weight on. Then you're putting weight on, so it can lead to injury. So just bring your foot somewhere close. You're also not gonna be able to do this when you need to bump somebody. By the time you do this, you got choked. Stay on your back, feet on the ground. Raise the hip 10 times all the way up. Use your glutes, contract your glutes. Keep the hips all the way up and back. I like to hold for just a second up and then back, up and back. This is a great exercise to warm up your lower back and to strengthen it as well to prevent further injury. From here, we're gonna do the same movement, but we're gonna be using our shoulders to reach across. Head stays on the ground. It's more of a roll over my body than it's driving. I'm not driving. My hips come up, my head moves away. I use my arm here to reach, not straight up, but also not to the side. Up here, now the other side, move the head, bring the arm over, and that's it. Once we finish those, we're gonna move on to hips and legs up. Hips and legs up. Here, the movement we're looking for is the upward movement, as we're gonna use that for arm bars and for triangles. We're not looking for a leg extension here. That can injure the lower back pretty easily there. So it's not necessarily an ab exercise, although it does use core a lot. We're looking just for this. When you come up, you can sit up, but keep the knees close to you. Oh. The advanced version of this move is when you start focusing on putting yourself on your shoulder a little bit more. So instead of coming up here, I start coming up to my side. Once we finish there, now we're going to one of the most famous warm-up exercises in Jiu-Jitsu, the hip movement, the shrimp, hip scoop, moving your hips. You got 1,000 different names. Same movement. Foot on the ground,
I turn on my side. I'm gonna use this back foot here to raise my hip weight off the ground. Doesn't have to be this, just up a little bit, and I'm gonna drive my hips back. One more time. Other side here, I put the foot on the ground. I turn on my side, raise, push back, back in. Other side, foot on the ground, turn on my side, hips back, and go. There are many different ways to do this exercise. You can use both feet. You can use the inside foot. A lot of different ways. But for the beginner class, for the beginner program, we're going to be mostly focused on outside foot, turn. If I don't lift my hip weight off the ground, I have to drag it on the floor. It's very heavy. Lift, push, come back in. Lift, push, come back in. A common mistake that I see in this position is trying to drive up too much. So just stand here on your side and move the hips out. Now we're gonna stand up in base. So first, to get set up here, one leg down, one leg up. My hip right now is very flat. The way I fix that is I move it to the side. Now I have weight on this bottom knee here. Okay, I should be leaning into the knee. My hand protecting my face. My other hand here close to my hip. My foot with some distance forward here so that I can kick if I need to. Now from here, I'm gonna look forward as if somebody's standing in front of me. I'm gonna raise my hip, bring my leg back, hips up, come up, adjust your stance, hands up, and then that's it. Always give yourself a couple seconds there once you stand up, as if somebody's standing in front of you. Hands up, you're ready to defend yourself. Now you can break your fall, go again. To break your fall, tuck your chin in. You're gonna cross your arms, sit, and slap the mat there with the palm of your hands. Easy way to practice is from here. Just a few times, like that. Now, let's try the other side here. From the side, my hand is close. My foot is a little bit away in case I kick. Most of the time I stand up in base, I'm not gonna kick anyone. So don't kick every time you practice. I've noticed some people tend to kick and stand up every time. Most times you're just gonna stand up in base, okay? The three main reasons we do stand up in base is this. If somebody's standing in front of me and I can see that maybe they're being aggressive or maybe it's a weird situation, I'm not really sure what to make of it, but I wanna get to my feet. I don't wanna lose my eye contact, so if I stand up like normal, like untrained people do, is here, and I lose eye contact, my head is exposed, and once I come up, somebody pushes me down, I fall down very easily. So we're gonna take care of those three things. I'm looking up, I'm protecting my face, and when I stand up, I'm already in a good base. Usually, you need to adjust a little bit, that's okay. That back foot's gonna step forward, you have a good base here. My base should not be linear, like I'm walking a plank. It's very good forward and back, but not very good at all side to side. So I want my outside foot to the side here, okay, so that I can move in any direction in a good way here. Hands up, and then I'm ready to break or fall. Boom, sit, get down there. One more time, I'm on my side, hand here, I'm looking up, protecting my face. Hip comes up, bring it back. My foot should be right by my hand here when I stand up. It's far away, I have to push my weight over to it. It's right here, I come up, and I adjust my base to finish in a good position, to get ready to protect myself, or in Jiu-Jitsu class, you should try to stand up in base most of the time. Now let's look at the forward roll and backwards roll. We're usually gonna do this at the end of the warm-up. One foot goes forward, both hands are gonna come down, usually around the same line here. So if my foot's here, my hands are gonna come down right by my foot on the other side. Right foot's forward, that means I'm gonna roll over my right shoulder, both hands come down. I look under the armpit and roll over that right shoulder. Here, now, usually if you're doing it on a line, you can stand up in base, then you're gonna roll again. So one more time from here. If I do the opposite side, my left foot's forward, both hands come down. I'm gonna look under my arm and roll over my shoulder. Usually break or fall. Now you can stand up to go again. If you're doing backwards rolls, you're gonna start from here. You're gonna sit and break or fall. And as I go, I look to my side and bring both of my knees to that same side. One more time. If I'm here, I sit, break my fall, bring my knees to the same side. If you're doing forward rolls from the knees, usually if the class is small or if you're just starting out, then one leg up, opposite hand on the ground. As I bring this knee to the ground, this hand is gonna go between my legs or outside, and I'm gonna look under my armpit to roll forward. Usually when we do from the knees, we're gonna do forward then backwards together. I look to my side, I get a little bit of momentum, and I bring both legs to the same side to finish on my knees. Now I'm ready to go again. One thing to watch out for on forward rolls is to not look over the top of the shoulder as you end up doing this kind of roll. Okay, that's not very beneficial for what we want to